we said we'll go a little bit into we started last week talking about the 12 empowerments, which is a foundational teaching, but we'll bring the basics in as well. So getting to know what is open intelligence when we relax as what's looking, when we relax as what's seeing, then we discover love and wisdom, open intelligence. So what's looking, open intelligence. Something about us that is always present, that is naturally present. So open intelligence is within us. It is not something we have to get from outside. We can count on open intelligence in every moment. So it is something about us that is naturally present. What's looking. Often we share also when you stop thinking for a moment, what remains. And there's an alertness, clarity, the natural presence of open intelligence. And obviously we get to know this open intelligence because we've not really acknowledged it during our lifetime, usually by focusing on our thoughts and emotions. But this open intelligence is also naturally present within all thoughts and emotions and sensations. So even though open intelligence is innate, we have to acknowledge it because it has gone unnoticed. So with the focus on describing our thoughts and what we are feeling right now, what we're thinking or sensing, there's just a focus on the descriptions, on the content of our mind, basically, rather than the space of mind, open intelligence. And not to ignore what is occurring, what we're thinking or feeling, but acknowledging the natural presence of open intelligence and doing that with short moments. That's where the short moments come in. Right, and we want today speaking a little bit of how can we make open intelligence more obvious, how to gain confidence in open intelligence, like knowing that that is something we can rely on and find the confidence. And it's a support system that is also introduced in the 12 empowerments, which is like a 12-part teaching, introducing us basically to the instinctive recognition of open intelligence in our daily life. And having a support system, calling the mainstays, where obviously short moments is one of them. We can take short moments whenever we remember to do so. We usually say that just whenever we remember to do so. And taking short moments, and when coming to a meetup like this or listening to a talk or reading a book of open intelligence, then that's also natural reminders of short moments, which is one of the mainstays. We'll come to it in the next one. But then, of course, a trainer, someone who has practiced short moments and can share their experience, can share directions. It's like having a trainer for building up muscles at a gym or learning an instrument. Basically, just having someone who can share their direct experience and instructions of how to get to know open intelligence. Yeah, the media and video and texts, like in the 12 empowerments, it's a body of texts that naturally evoke open intelligence. We don't even have to think about it, try to figure anything out. It just naturally is evoked. So sometimes that's the easy way to just let it be naturally become more obvious rather than actually understanding. I mean, understanding is part of it, obviously, but the key is like to take short moments and have the media available that naturally evokes that presence of open intelligence. Yeah, when we hear shares in a community of people sharing their experience of open intelligence, sometimes it's just very normalizing, makes it very normal, makes it accessible, we hear that we are all humans, have similar experiences ultimately in the same way of having not known open intelligence and then getting to know that. Hearing others' experiences is very inspiring. Okay, maybe Jochen, we'll dive today a little bit into empowerments 4 to 9. The first being, yeah.
Go ahead, Kathy.
The first 3 empowerments we spoke about last time, but it's basically the introduction and what we just covered now, the introduction to open intelligence and getting to know like the support system. But yeah, so I'll hand it over to you there.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first 3 empowerments are, you could say, the foundation that clarify the direct instinctive recognition of open intelligence, like what that's like, and then starting to build in the practice of recognizing that, relying on it for short moments many times, whenever we remember, as Kati just said. And then empowerments 4 through 9 are examining how exactly the short moments practice can work and look like for us with our unique, specific belief systems, relationships, both the relationship with ourselves, the relationship with people, with society potentially, or with organizations, basically all the aspects of our life that are maybe harder to take short moments with, or where we feel I just have to do something like right now, whether it's the sense of urgency or things we might find disturbing or annoying or threatening. And so we investigate basically how these specific, what we call data, so these thoughts, emotions, sensations that come up in these relationships have then played out in the relationships and also informed our decision making. And then we gain confidence in open intelligence while harmonizing these relationships. So we really tap into the power of open intelligence as a direct support in our day-to-day life. So it isn't like checking out of everyday life and living only in open intelligence and like leaving all the data somewhere else, basically, all the relationships, all the data, and retreating into open intelligence. We bring open intelligence into exactly those areas that have felt difficult in life. Face everything and avoid nothing. That's what we learn with the practices, that we can face everything as it is. We recognize that everything is the beneficial energy of open intelligence that is entirely beneficial by nature. So we recognize as direct experience, not as a new belief system that we have to accept or adopt. We recognize in our direct experience that all data, first of all, provide the opportunity to recognize open intelligence in every moment. And we also then recognize in every moment that self-release of all the data, so that nothing really needs to be done about them. That's the freedom in immediate perception, complete perceptual openness in all experience. These aren't things we need to create through practice. It's more that in practice of short moments, we recognize that all data are like a line drawn in space, like all thoughts, they vanish upon arising. There is nothing we need to work out or do about them. We become entirely ready to let data be as it is. Open intelligence is pure beneficial energy. And that's a line from Empowerment 6. And it's powerful to reflect on life. And we spoke a bit about that also in relation to Empowerment 1 last week, to reflect on how life has operated for us when we try and manage all our data, all the thoughts, emotions, sensations, our relationships, ourself, and how powerful it is to even just for a moment let it all be as it is and see from there what actually really needs to be done. And often, at least in my experience, I found that a lot of what I thought is like really urgent and needs to be done and done immediately. Actually, there is always this opportunity for rest, for pause, to then see more clearly what is actually a good way to proceed.
Mm. And so far, oh, sorry, back. Oh, okay, I have to get back to our first one here. Okay, so far in life, um, we've trained ourselves in relying on data naming and divided the world of subjects, objects, and world. Now we're training ourselves in open intelligence and its powers of great benefit. Just basing on getting to know how we have trained ourselves dealing with data, meaning all the thoughts, emotions, and experiences, what's called data. So how we might have avoided going somewhere, being with a person, yeah, just avoiding certain feelings by also replacing them with better ones, or trying to feel relief by figuring something out, indulging in it, analyzing why we are thinking or why we are feeling something. So all this way of focusing on data and seeing how we can have a choice in every moment rather than just focusing on these descriptions. We can rest as open intelligence, this energy which is inseparable from all these kinds of emotions and thoughts, which are the dynamic energy of open intelligence naturally. And so then in the end, we see the same process that is used as in our training in data naming, like we are introduced to what everything is, who we are, basically, and practice and listen and hear and write about it. So this kinds of way, that's the basis for the 12 empowerments, the method of just simply training up open intelligence muscle, so to speak, to recognize the presence of open intelligence within all these kinds of thoughts, emotions, and it becomes naturally obvious. And then there's a confidence. And it's something that is ultimately reliable, because I could never rely on having good thoughts all the time. And so knowing something about me that is ultimately reliable and, indestructible, um, was just like, that, that was really, really good, because trying to get into a state of being at peace or calm or even no thoughts, which I noticed that is really difficult to do, was just a temporary thing. Yeah, so it's training in open intelligence. And what then the 12 empowerments and what naturally comes about with this open intelligence gets very practical too. So by the power of relying open intelligence, we gradually stop avoiding relationship as a means um, to lessen anxiety or fear. So that way of, it doesn't mean we have to like be friends with everyone or visit people. It's not an extreme like, oh no, we have to be good and with everyone. But it is really seeing how we have avoided people, relationships due to anxiety, fear, or anger, and especially the relationship with oneself. When we look how we try to, the relationship with our own feelings and thoughts, and trying to get rid of that. So open intelligence and that practice really opened up not being afraid of oneself and one's own feelings, the unpredictability of what comes next, life, events, or just the next feeling and thought we might have. And in that way, also recognizing a fearlessness in relationships and in being with people. We don't, not afraid of what it brings up in us. There's a stability. I guess we could pause here and speak about 10 to 12 next time. Yes, Robert.
I do this practice. It's a movement type thing, and during it, I had what I would call an epiphany of sorts, and it wasn't. This was interesting because it wasn't thought out and going, I've got to investigate this, which was kind of neat. I'm not that much. I do like to investigate things, but not my thoughts. Not into that much. So during this epiphany, I it was like, oh, I know what the if there's a great illusion, whatever that means. And I've studied some things where they talk about the illusory body and illusory mind and all this stuff. And what it was, if this illusion was that we're not free, that the illusion is we're not free, but yet we are free. And freedom is our being. And it and then I realized that the short moments many times is allowing us by doing open intelligence is allowing us to be in touch with that freedom.
Mm.
That so that and like I said, I wasn't thinking what is this? How is it? It just came, and it was quite a wonderful experience to realize that. And I've been paying attention to that a lot since it happened 4 or 5 days ago, and I just keep it just shows up itself. It shows itself up quite frequently, and when I'm confronted with something that is challenging, I recall that freedom is mine. That doesn't mean I clear that all, but that the if my basic kind of thing is that I'm free, then what is there that can really touch that and bother me anymore? Yet there are still things that do bother me. But as I recall and and I can put my attention on that truth, then it makes my life a lot easier. And then consequently, Candace speaks about that awareness benefits everyone. And then I can benefit other people, when I'm clearer. So that's my sharing for this.
Yeah,
For this.
that's great. Right. Yes, yes. That's wonderful. That's very powerful. That's great that you're saying it like in short moments. You're just acknowledging it
Yeah.
without, yeah, it's very instinctive. I always was looking for freedom
Yeah.
and thought I have to travel away from things but it was really beautiful to recognize that aspect that I was looking for in just these short moments.
You
I
know,
think.
to add to that, it's interesting because I realized too that you don't have to go anywhere. If you go somewhere, it's always with you. But you don't have to go someplace to get that freedom.
Mhm.
So that has that is a great finding for me too. Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's relief. Nice. Thank you. Sharing. Mhm. Natalie.
Hi, everyone. I mean, it's not a question. It's I noticed since a long time that it's naturally I tend to I mean, it's more difficult for me to take short moment willingly or to remember to take short moment when I'm with other people, as I tend to make myself, I think, or in uh, very available for the in the relationship, and maybe it's due to my work as a psychotherapist or my own tendency. When I'm on my own, then then it's more automatic, and it's well, I regret a little bit because I'm sure that it would be much better. I mean, it would be wonderful if I could be connected willingly to open intelligence by a short moment as I interact with people. So
Mhm.
that's it.
Yes,
But
yes.
until now, even though I remind myself, or I said, oh, again, then I didn't find a way to be more automatically to reminded of short moment while I'm speaking with people, friends or whoever. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And what comes up when you're with people and friends? Is it like feeling of needing to do something or accommodate? Mhm.
Accommodate or just being available or listen,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
or just listen. Yes.
Mhm.
Sometimes, I mean, it happens sometimes, but it's
Mm.
it's more rare than when I'm on my own.
Yeah, yeah. No, I understand. I mean, I know that in my, if I can share my experience, if that's okay. But yeah, the feeling. First of all, I also noticed that in interactions with people, certain situations or people, it's more difficult to recognize open intelligence, to feel the flow and feel like one can be really responding from a place of rest, so to speak, rather than the old ways of needing, like you said, like to accommodate, listen endlessly, or something like that. It could be any kind of form of what we feel doesn't feel easy, feels more energy consuming. But really, everything is of course the dynamic energy of open intelligence. It doesn't go anywhere. It just doesn't feel so accessible, or doesn't feel so, yeah, naturally beneficial in that moment. And yeah, I see such kinds of changes, you know, whatever they might look really different for each person. So it doesn't have one standard look. How it will be for each one when we recognize open intelligence fully, how would we respond in situations? We might look exactly the same way, right? But there might be an ease while we do what we naturally do because that's our style, right? We not change to something completely different. We might, though. It might be that we are feel more the courage to say, okay, see you later. Or, I'm making just things up now. But it could be, we might put easy with saying no, like saying no, right? It's not something that I thought, oh yeah, will that be easier? It can be easier. Could also be easier to say yes and feel at ease if we say always yes. So I'm making examples of that. It doesn't have to look a certain way. There might be even, and there will be more remembering of short moments. Just, I saw it over time, just naturally more and more. It'll pervade things. And then ways of acting and behaving all appear as open intelligence. So actually open intelligence deepens even if we do the same style of relating. And then we might see ourselves naturally change. And I saw it in myself, feeling more. The fearlessness was something that really resonated with me. Less fear to be just the way I am. And say maybe things that I wouldn't have said before, but also being more at ease and being just the way I am. Also I know, like, being just far more accommodating than maybe somebody else would be, or yeah. So, but to keep it simple, the key is always that there is a more of a remembering or instinctive, even it's not even like I might not really think of open intelligence, but I can see, I was more at ease, regardless if I feel like I was a certain way, or, not second guess myself afterwards or feel frustrated by something. Yeah. Or even in the frustration, being very free. Frustrated, complete release, for example. I know I just chose some examples that I personally potentially could relate to.
Thank you.
Yeah. But thank you for sharing. I mean, the deepening of open intelligence is in those situations that we feel as more like challenging. Because when everything is open intelligence, energy, then there is something that deeply relaxes in oneself with more and more training of open intelligence. Not that we're training something really, it's not really, but it is some confidence that does come about. I mean, you know that I'm just talking now generally. Yeah, more confidence. Yeah, let's see if you hear some other shares or question. Oh, hello. Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
It's Mike.
Hi,
This is
Mike.
my first time here.
Yeah.
Hi, and to everybody. There was one thing that I wanted to maybe that came into my mind about what's been happening to me, was that when I first encountered Candace O'Denver's videos on YouTube. Well, actually, the very first one I looked at, it had a really profound effect on me. I mean, it sort of silenced my um, identification with me, um, in a way I hadn't experienced. Well, let's say it was completely new to me in terms of what I was looking at, the spiritual things on YouTube, and particularly the thing that she said about the awareness is actually one with all the data, uh, all the personal preoccupations and reactions and and so on that flood one's mind. But that didn't last very long, because I was soon back, into the usual gamut of very strong identification with the thoughts, compulsive, and then at a certain point, I sort of remarked to myself, well, this is actually getting more dense than possibly than it has been for a while. As if there was a very strong reaction to the loosening effect. As if I was something in me was gripping, was sort of bouncing back into the mayhem that I define as myself. Um, and I just noticed that it seemed to be very strong over the past couple of days, and I was wondering, is that possibly the right interpretation of that? That you can get a very strong reaction to any uplift that you may have received from that sort of momentary realization that
Yeah.
something's true here.
Yes. Well, what we probably would well, what I could say spontaneously is what sometimes happens is when, I mean, first of all, you had a moment when you listen to the talk. Sounds like you had that moment of, open intelligence, rest. There's an ease, all the ways of our mind relaxed, and you hear like the teachings of allowing everything to be as it is, the dynamic energy of open intelligence. And what then can happen, and this happens when people go through the empowerments too, because we start not using the usual ways of dealing with our thoughts and emotions, try to replace, manage them. They might feel like more intense, or we add on more thinking about the teaching. And there might be seemingly more data. I don't now know if this is now your experience. There could be many other things, of course, as well, but often that can happen, that it feels like we're facing actually even more initially, because we're seeing everything as open intelligence. Important would be like coming back and listening further to the talks, and having some support there. Yeah, there will be more and more like that obviousness that it slips away is very normal. So don't try to hold it in place.
And
Mhm.
when the name that the way you're referring to the awareness, the empty looking dimension is as open awareness. Does that bear any relation to the idea of awareness being boundless and without limits, no borders? Is that sort of referring to the same experience, or is that something?
Yes, ultimately, yes.
Yes.
Don't try to experience that, but ultimately, yes. Open intelligence is like a vast space. It's like everything. And you have teachings that speak about, this awareness, but we say open intelligence that has no borders, boundaries, limitless. It's not even any experience, but it's all experiences. It's as everything, it's not one thing. So you hear teachings like that, and they actually naturally evoke that moment of rest. But thinking about that further and trying to experiencing something in that way can make it complicated, and we might try, effort for something to look a certain way, something that feels limitless, something that feels like freedom. And even though it is instinctively what happens, when we try to experience it, it gets very contrived.
Yeah.
So what we always suggest is like, just take short moments, even if they don't look very great, because we have a moment of very powerful insight, but sometimes it will be like, oh, I have lots to do today, and our feelings might be down, or we feel nothing special. And that's a short moment of open intelligence right there. We have a thought running. That's good to rest, and it's in the thought as well, but sometimes we elaborate on things, think about things. Then listening to a talk is easier than taking a short moment, maybe. Especially when you resonate with the talk so well, it could be the best way to practice.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you.
And you.
Great. And Lisa, how did you find the teaching actually?
Hi, yes, I'm Lisa. I'm in Munich, but I come from Sweden. And I can't really say where I found you. I found you years ago. And I've been kind of getting emails all these years. And I'm in a Buddhist Sangha where I also do a lot of open awareness meditations and stuff like that. But I've become more and more curious about what you're doing in these short moments. Yeah. So the curiosity grew enough to download the app a few days ago. And I'm now, because I think I kind of have the feeling that these days it's so important for modern Western people to to find means of connecting with what we really are, with our true nature. And I'm not sure that all these meditations that I have learned so far, they are great, but actually what I feel is the most important is really to connect, to go into open awareness. And yeah, so that's why I'm very curious to find out what you do here.
Thank you for sharing. It's nice to hear. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can understand. Great. Yeah. Yeah, that's making awareness or open intelligence very practical in daily life, also within just human experience, but also it really supported me with all kinds of meditations that I've done before as well, and enjoy doing. But yeah, it's really nice to have the short moments. It's like a ultimate meditation, so to speak. But yeah, that's nice. Yeah, great. Nice to meet you then.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
We've lived in München. That's nice. Before, a long time ago. But we come from Germany, actually. Living now in California. But and you have a Sweden center, right? I don't know if you heard that. But...
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. Yeah, exactly. So let's see. Maybe I will visit them.
Yes.
So are you all in the States or are you around the world? I heard a few other accents.
Yeah, it's around the world. There's some also from Germany, France, so some here in the US, but it's all a mix. And then many people, maybe also not here, but it's like Europe. Yeah, we have many in Sweden just due to having a center there since 20 years, actually. So it's there in near Hässleholm, south of Sweden. Yeah, and had many gatherings there. So
Nice. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's nice there. It's a nice place. Yeah. So yeah. But really, there you'll hear many accents. That's true. That's nice. Yeah, UK as well. Amanda, how's it going for you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling a bit because I've got a tent project that is stressing me. So I keep forgetting, or the panic comes. So it's like, I need to fix this. And then I can take a short moment. So I'm struggling to be with that panicky energy and take a short moment. I'm like, let me manage this with the mind, and then I can do a short moment when the mind's fixed everything and it's all safe. So I'd like to not do it that way around, do it the other way around, but it's quite hard.
Mm.
And I could resonate with Natalie. When I'm with people, I just forget everything. Although I did manage, when someone was annoying me, I did manage to take a short moment.
Well,
So
that's great. And what happened then?
yeah, it did bring more space. I mean, then a few days later, I did the opposite of that and reacted and lost the plot. But yeah.
Yeah. It's helpful to see the moments, even if maybe 90% doesn't work. But the 10% where it actually where you can see the results, to give them also lots of space to actually, because it supports seeing that it's, recognizing that it's like when a child learns to walk. I like that metaphor always. It's like it isn't focused on that the falling is bad. It's
No.
focused on that one step was good or something, like so just that way of seeing, okay, well, at least one time it gave more space and I didn't react, even though the next time maybe that was really. And that's how that open intelligence becomes obvious. It's like it just happens like that. Yeah, and forgetting all the time is, it's okay. I mean, whenever we remember means even after, even though it feels like that frustrating that it was after maybe a circumstance. But that also is, it always is then a reset button. Are you on empowerment 2? That is, I think, the reset button.
3.
Oh, you're 3, right? Yeah.
I get muddled up. 3. Yeah.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm better at I never had it massively, the blaming the other person. I probably normally blame myself, but I have noticed I've got better at just going, this is what is, rather than and seeing the universality of everything, rather than that feels a bit, if I find there's a blaming energy towards the other person, I'm more conscious of that to not indulge that. There you go.
Right. Yeah, great.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, yeah. Well, empowerment 4, like we looked at today, will actually dive then into this more in depth with these relationships, and that will make it then more instinctive with people. Great. Any other shares or questions? There's still time. Oh, yes.
Good morning. I am reading Candace's unbelievable book, Enlightened Life. I've been in it for about a year. I want to recommend it to everyone if you've not read it. It's really like a living word. It's absolutely alive. It's hard to get from sentence to sentence. It's so powerful. But I ran across a phrase months ago that read, and the section is about basically the distinction between knowledge, everyday intellectual knowing, and the knowing, the knowledge that's uh, 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 the light of open intelligence and real knowing, real knowledge that's life changing, liberating. It's a different brand, different quality, obviously. One is reified knowledge, the other is knowledge of open intelligence expressed. But this I didn't understand this, and I'll read it and then let you maybe explain. The sentence says, "That which binds those in unawareness liberates those with comprehensive knowledge." This is a totally profound statement and is the root of all knowledge. Let me repeat, that which binds those in unawareness liberates those with comprehensive knowledge. Now, I kind of did an exercise for myself, and I thought about, and correct me, if this is a misreading, but I thought about, fear makes its appearance, and that fear did bind me when there was unawareness, and that's all I knew was fear. There was a absolute binding. But for one with comprehensive knowledge, the operation of open intelligence, the fear is recognized, and all of a sudden, fear becomes a liberation, or the seeing of the fear is a moment of liberation. And you can take a short moment and allow that fear to be as it is, and the circumstance that's generating it be as it is. And so all of a sudden, there is new freedom and rest because of having the knowledge, having the sensitivity to open intelligence. Is that a correct reading of that?
Amazing. I'm glad I didn't have to answer that as a question. You did much better than I would have said that. It's powerful. Yeah. And what I think you were also pointing to the difference between knowledge that is essentially created by thinking and analysis and logic and reasoning. Not that any of those are bad, but it's clear that they lead to one way of knowing things that is usually, at least in my experience, quite rigid. And it's always black and white, black or white. And the knowledge and it always left me with like a sense of subtle distrust or doubt. I'm not 100% sure, even though I've kind of decided this must be the correct answer, but is it really? And the knowledge from open intelligence is just so clear. And at the same time, it's completely flexible. So it could be so clear this is the right thing to do. And the next minute, it could be something different. That's exactly the right thing to do. So I love that it doesn't have that like that framework that it needs to uphold. And I mean, fear is a really powerful example that from which it sounds like you've really tested this or looked at this in your direct experience. And when you see how much of life is governed by fear, like trying to avoid circumstances due to fear, getting into situations we wouldn't want to get in because of fear. Like there's so much that's built on fear and other afflictive states, obviously. But like before the conversation around recognizing open intelligence or practicing when being with other people, for me, being with people, I've always felt a lot of tension because of fear. Like, how do people perceive me? What do I need to do for people to like me? Not even that was like a conscious thought stream that ran all the time. It was more like an underlying framework for relationship. Like I need to do everything I can in this situation for people to approve upon me, to like me, to I don't know. It wasn't even like with thoughts. It was more of almost like an energetic sense of not feeling safe in my own skin in when exposed, essentially, or let alone being exposed like completely naked without trying to do anything. Like that would have been way too scary, basically. And so to recognize that a lot of my, and also just to say, I don't know anybody would have noticed that. I have really learned in life to like manage that stuff. It was just mostly me that was suffering from it. I don't know many people would have noticed. Like I did stuff in the world and was talking and doing things and working, but internally there was always this being like alert to not do the wrong thing. And so at some point, especially in empowerment eight, I think eight or nine, I don't remember exactly, but in one of the two empowerments, I recognized that a lot of what was going on in relationship with other people was actually all about the relationship with myself and the stuff that came up for me in me while I was relating with other people. So, and then recognizing this complete freedom that there still is, even in the arising of everything that's coming up. That's the kind of knowledge that even though intellectually I could have, I knew that I'm like safe in this environment, but to have that be a direct experience, like this inner knowing that really is unshakable and true, is such a different way of knowing anything. And it always starts with the knowing of ourself ultimately. So that's really all we ever know is in ourselves. There is nothing else other than self-knowing open intelligence that knows itself as whatever it is that appears. But that's really, really, yeah, it's amazing. And I love that you examined this in your direct experience. We were in touch a little bit, right, about that. So that's
Yeah, I'm in
really good.
doing Empowerment 8, and there's four relationships. Even the slide today talking about the recognition of fear. Uh, it's certain relationships. If there's um within the relationships, there are inherent levels of anxiety, fear, thoughts like you're describing about those relationships. And so you just don't work on them. You basically avoid them. I've got a coworker, I've got a son, I've got another person in my life that I just really don't know what to do with them. But it's rooted in a lot of my own thoughts. And there's not been proper applications of open intelligence, if you will, to ameliorate that. But I'm expecting that in Empowerment 9.
Yes, that's perfectly on track. Empowerment 8 is just looking at exactly what you've described, and then in Empowerment 9 we'll close the circle. And a lot of the changes are surprisingly simple once we really activate the open intelligence button. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
beautiful.
suspect it will be largely rest. Rest is best. So, thank you.
Great to hear from you, Paul.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Nice to see everyone. I think we'll pause here today and we'll meet again next week. For those in the US, it will be again at 9 a.m. for us in the US, but for everyone else, it stays the same. I mean,
Great to see you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good rest of your days.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.